Session on quick Materia Medica today, and this time our drugs are a few antisoric medicines, 5 of them. These are Anacardium, Aurum, Lachesis, Nitric acid, and Phosphorus. Conventionally, if you see, you will say Aurum is a syphilitic remedy, Lachesis is a syphilitic remedy, Nitric acid is a psychotic remedy, etc. etc. But we have already discussed earlier that basic concept of Hahnemann. If we keep in mind, we find that there has been a lot of distortion in labeling these remedies as antisyphilitic and antipsychotic. So we have already taken care of that aspect, and we will try to forget this wrong teaching that any destruction is syphilis and any proliferation is psychosis. That is totally a wrong misgeneralization. So now let us begin with anacardium. Anacardium will study under these common 6 heads. So first is region, mind, nervous system, stomach. You see, bold is mind, that is capital is mind, its main seat of action is on mind. Whereas others you can read palms, muscles, joints, more on the left side. Then aggravation by mental exertion. And emotions, particularly anger, fright, and worry. So these are the factors which aggravate. And better by eating. So that all of us remember that anacardium is better by eating. Now, Herring's repeatedly verified symptoms of mind. He is separated from whole world, has so little confidence in himself or herself that despairs of being able to do what is required of him. That is, he or she is sad and not having confidence in its own self. Lack of confidence called diffidence. Hypochondriasis, we know, is a tendency to be over concerned about one's own sickness or somatic complaints. Then irresistible desire to curse and swear, loss of memory after general paralysis, then weak memory. Then when walking he feels anxious, as if someone were pursuing him. Now, as if someone were pursuing him is an obsession. He suspected everything around him. So this suspiciousness, paranoid trend is there. Then it has been generalized by Vermeulen, quoting from Mathurides, persons who are clairaudient, clairvoyance. Clair means clear, voyance means vision. So those who can see beyond, that is called clairvoyance. Similarly, clairaudience, that is clear hearing. So you can hear something in the other room. So that is not actually hearing. And similarly, clairvoyance is not actually seeing, that is hallucination. So persons who are clairvoyant hear voices, and so that is clairaudience means hearing something. So which is hears voices from far away or of dead persons, suffer from hallucinations. Has been quoted from Arthur. Then persons with strange temper. What is that strange temper? Laugh at serious matters and serious over laughable things. That is what is psychosis. We have seen. So we have got psychotic inklings here. In fact, it's a frankly psychotic remedy. Anger from contradiction. Could have stabbed anyone. So much angry. Very easily offended. Takes everything in bad part. That is again you can see hypomania. Then anxious when walking as if someone were pursuing him. So that is what is paranoia or paranoid trend. Then fastidious. Cannot rest when things are not in proper place. So that is arsenic, that is carcinogen, and this in fact is OCPD. So fear of examination, nervous exhaustion from overstudy, and sudden loss of memory. Then hatred. Unfeeling means no feeling. So that is a sort of cruelty. That is a sort of carelessness. Hard-hearted. Blasphemy and cursing. Blasphemy is, making defamation. And cruelty, malicious. So we had an examiner in DNS who would ask that there is a boy who is sitting at the bank, river bank, and from there he is throwing stone at frog. And when the frog dies, then the boy becomes cheerful and laughs. Tell which drug. So now that was abroad. In abroad, that symptom is given in Allen's keynote. So in fact, what is that? For a child to enjoy this thing slightly is different, but then this is the inkling of this particular maliciousness. So that is not a monopoly of abrotenum alone, but being a child remedy, and that is what is written there. So here also we have that particular tendency. Want of moral feeling, godless. No, godless is not a disease. You know, in uh, this can be an abnormality and this can be a normal thing. It is to be seen in the light of all other features. If a person does not believe in God but believes in human rights, then that is not a sickness. So here if there is godlessness and want of religious feeling, wants, that is enjoys hurting the feelings and sentiments of godly people. Hypochondriasis and hemorrhoids. So that will be hypomania, right? And lack of self-confidence has been emphasized and tries to prove himself. Then mental disorders, schizophrenia, paranoia, now these all are conclusions. This does not mean it has been proved on such patients. This has been concluded in the way in which one of the ways I have explained to you. So, melancholia with its guiding symptoms, having two wills. On shoulder there is an angel sitting and there is a devil sitting. That is also psychosis. The other forbids. Then irresistible desire to curse and swear with illusions, delusions and hallucinations and sudden loss of memory. So you see, it has got a great potential of psychiatric remedy. No reality in anything. Everything looks unreal. Two wills, one bad, one good, again has been said, and then sudden loss of memory. After this mind, we go to generalities. In generalities, we find numbness externally, single part, then suffering parts are numb, sensation of a hoop or band around as if tight is there, and plug, anacardium marking nut right within, and that Elizabeth Taylor's poem is there, no, about anacardium. So over there it has been emphasized, all these points have been linked. Then symptoms disappear while eating and symptoms go from right to left. Finally, the particulars, the skin trouble, eczema, itching, etc. better by hot water, headache is better by eating, and injury of tendons and vomiting of pregnancy, which is relieved by constant eating so that the person becomes obese. So that is anacardium. After this, we go to next remedy, that is Aurum met. Now, Aurum met, as we have already said, has been a medicine which is an antisoric medicine, and because it has got a propensity to commit suicide, and people did not interpret Hahnemann when he said that desire to commit suicide is relieved by Aurum met doses, a few doses, and we know today that this desire to commit suicide is nothing but a symptom of depression, and depression comes under sora. So as a result, it is very much a soric symptom, and Aurum met is a soric medicine. Once it was presumed it is syphilitic, then automatically the drug also went to syphilis, and this Aurum met became a syphilitic drug. I try to simplify like this, but then it is not so. In fact, we must remember Aurum met is a soric remedy. Now, here region is mind, vascular system, nerves, and right side of the heart, then bones, different parts. So this all is what you all have studied in the action of Aurum met. I need not repeat it. Only thing is mind, vascular system, nasal, and right side are the key features here. Then in aggravation, by emotions it is worse, by mental exertion it is worse, so that there is a line written in many remedies, one of which is Aurum met, that complaints from grief, vexation, mortification, these, that. During our student life, we used to be very much and trying to understand what is this, what is that, and how we will be able to remember. But then now, for us to remember, in one word is stress. What all this leads to is stress. So it's a remedy for stress, a simple way to remember. Then worse at night, ascending stairs, then menstrual period and right side. Then better, cool, cold bath, bathing, becoming warm also is better. So there are differential modalities. Warmth during pains, the patient is better and better by rest. Then hearing symptoms, let us see, ailments from grief and disappointed love. Then hopelessness, then looks on dark side, weeps, prays, thinks she is not fit for this world, longs for death, strong inclination to commit suicide, desperate, desires to jump from a height. Then melancholy, feels hateful and quarrelsome, anxious, palpitation and desire to commit suicide. So these, then next is mental labor fatigues, headache from least mental exertion, terrible melancholy after abuse of mercury. So this abuse of mercury is another symptom, because that time mercury was a drug of choice. Today you don't have mercury. Today you have steroids. Now we have to see which of these remedies are yielding to the demands of this excessive use of steroids. So whichever drugs are there, they poison the system. Then patient pining away on account of bodily and mental anxiety. Pining away means they become, depressed, they become not interested in anything, aloof. So that is what is the depression here. Weary of life, especially in evening, with longing for death. Then mind has been analyzed here. We will see the capital ones: depressive and melancholy mood. Then suicidal disposition, suicidal from pains, oversensitive to contradiction, cannot tolerate contradiction. That is a hot-tempered person. These are hypomaniacs. Hypomaniac is like a king. And which king likes contradiction? Nobody. Once you are a king, you will not like contradiction. So he is a hypomaniac. Automatically, the temper comes in mania. Then general oversensitivity to all this, clairvoyant and clairaudient and like that words you can coin. Ailments from fright, anger. This line I was talking: anger, contradiction, vexation. Then wounded honor. The honor is wounded. I am insulted. Now, if I am insulted, there are two components. One is the person who is insulting, and second is the receiver. So somebody, was abusing Zakir Hussain. So when he was abusing Zakir Hussain, there was somebody walking by his side. He was in some other country. So he did not say anything. After that man went, this person went to Zakir Hussain and said, "Sir, that fellow was abusing you like anything, and you did not say anything." Until he took out a pen from his pocket. He said, "This is pen. This is my pen, right? I give it to you. You do not take it." Where does the pen stay? With you. So he insulted me. I did not take the insult. So where does the insult remain? It remains with him. So this wounded honor, or rather being hurt, there are two arms. One is the wound itself, and second is the person who is injured. So here these are very sensitive people. Unusual, then wounded honor, loss of property, unusual responsibilities. So that is what he describes, because he is oversensitive to it. Then duty bound, that is also OCPD. Then anxiety of conscience, guilty feeling and remorse. Then after that, workaholic. The workaholic is, something a person cannot live without that. These are the persons who are successful. You will say, "Sir, Modi is workaholic." So then you will give him a dose of Aurum, and his workaholism goes away, and then you lose a good prime minister. Who will like to do that? First of all, no medicine can correct things like that. These are the habits inculcated from our childhood, no? So then, industrious, despair, violent, uh, forsaken feeling, enclosed and serious. So that is the mind of Aurum. Now, persons of this mind, remember one thing, when you prescribe Aurum, their mind and mentality may not go away. But if there are pains in the bone, if there are complaints which fit in the ability or the picture of Aurum from any Materia you see, those symptoms can go away. And that is what is the homeopathic advantage. Then generally it is desire for open air and cold air. Desire for open air and open air ameliorates. Not only desire, it ameliorates also. Yet cold air and becoming aggravates. Then hyperemia, then ebullitions, that is as if heat is coming out, surging of blood to head and heat in blood vessels. So these are called flashes like of thing, and they are found in menopausal stage when females are complaining that there is a surging, there is a heat. Then orgasm of blood after emotions, excitement, trembling from anger, fright, liver affections and heart symptoms. Then under particulars anopsia. So that is hemiopia. Earlier it was called hemiopia. Now it is called anopsia. So that means half vision. Upper half of visual field is lost. Then fetor ex or, that means mouth, bad smell. So instead of writing bad smell from mouth, if you are a very big doctor, write a symptom, fetor ex ori. So that means that you have made a good diagnosis. So that is bad smell like old cheese. Paroxysm pain. Then there is pain in sternum at night, just like say angina pectoris, and dyspnea aggravates. Now, of course, you have to take precaution of diagnosis, and that is diagnosis and ECG etc. must be done. Patient must be referred to a cardiologist, and all those precautions you have to take. Otherwise, you cannot diagnose on these symptoms alone. Pain in bones, pain at night, many eye diseases, a lot of the list of eye diseases. And then this creptorrhea means undescended testes. So that is mostly right-sided, chronic orchitis, then endocarditis after rheumatism, jaundice during pregnancy. So that is our second drug. Now we go to Lachesis. Now under Lachesis, we shall see the nerves, cutaneous, vasomotor, they are prominently affected. Pneumogastric is vagus nerve. Then blood, heart, circulation. Then female organs. Left side, we all know, and predominantly left side. Not only left throat and ovary, but entire generalities wise, left is more than the right. Lachesis, we all remember and the features of sidedness. Then worse by sleep, that is a very predominantly prominent symptom. And as a result, in the morning, sorry. Then worse in heat, worse by heat of sorts. Then swelling, empty swelling causes trouble if discharges are suppressed. Similarly, intoxicants including alcohol, sensitive to many things, touch, pressure, clothes, on neck, herring could not put a tie, we all remember, we all know. Then start and close of menses, climaxes and extremes of temperature. These are all well-known modalities of Lachesis. The better in open air and free secretions, better by discharges, better by hard pressure, bathing the affected part and cold drinks. Now let us go to the mind. Chronic complaints after long lasting grief or sorrow. Then delirium at night. Then delirium tremens, that is those drunkards once they leave drinking. And then exceptional loquacity, very much talkative person, so much talkative that you are required to restrain him and remind him that alright, let us talk about the complaints. Then feels extremely sad, great sadness and anxiety. Then One word often leads to another story. Locacity, that symptom alphabetically I have arranged, so it has come here. Then quick comprehension and weakness of memory makes mistakes in writing. Now, how it has been analyzed? Sharp tongue, witty. Those who are going to talk more, they will become sharp tongue, witty. Overactive mind, or loquacity. So that is talking very big things, very big things. Then intense and passionate, going to extremes, moralistic, puritan, or militant on sexual and religious issues. If somebody is doing a wrong thing, sin, he must be killed. So that is what is his concept. That is very rigid insofar as religion is concerned. So with Lachesis, religiosity is added. Then strong sex drive. One side. Other side, very high on sexual standards, Puritan, fanatic disapproval. Then strong-minded, haughty, fanaticism, suspicion and jealousy is very important, we all know. Vivid imagination. Then in generalities, it's a hot patient, aggravated during and after sleep, on after long sleep. Then menopause is the period, never well since menopause. Then warm wet weather, ameliorated by discharges. Then purple bluish discoloration of the skin is important feature. Left-sided complaints. In fact, we know too much of legacies. The problem is we know so much of legacies that we forget the small things which are important. So let us concentrate on what is the most important. Particulars is choking from clothing around the neck or slightest pressure or touch for that matter. Left-sided quinsy is paratonsillar abscess, repeated uh, abscesses. Then paroxysm of sneezing in hay fever and especially worse after sleeping. Then we go to our next remedy, last but one, that is nitric acid. Nitric acid is a remedy, few of the remedies about which Hahnemann has written repeatedly in chronic diseases. You often find sulfur, you often find nitric acid written there, and depersal. So nitric acid is a medicine which Hahnemann used again and again and advised the use of nitric acid again and again in various conditions. So it's a very important remedy. Now margins of outlets, that is where skin and mucous membranes meet. Then glands. Glands include the biggest gland, exocrine as well as endocrine, that is liver, prostate and salivary glands. Then tubular glands, blood, skin, bones works on left side, right side. So this especially the glands and the margins of outlets. Works by touch, jerks, rattling of wagons, noise, and cold. Works by cold, change of weather, mental exertion, hot weather. There is quite a long list, but from among them the most important is touch, jarring and cold, which have been given in capital. Then better by gliding motions, that is smooth motions. Then mild weather, steady pressure, riding in carriage, and warm covering and hot applications. Hearings verified symptoms after continued loss of sleep. That is very important. Oculus indica is an acute remedy for loss of sleep complaints. Students remedy. We used to take Oculus indica when we used to be awake whole night, and then just before sleeping a dose of Oculus indica and after getting up a dose of Oculus indica. We do not know how much it was psychological, but we know that it gave a lot of comfort in the next day. It cannot be psychological effect like this. But that is for acute complaints. Subsequently, for chronic complaints, long-lasting anxiety, overexertions of mind and body from nursing the sick, great anguish of mind from loss of his dearest friend. So this is a very important symptom written in nitric acid, and they say that the dearest friend means maximum trouble comes when the life partner is lost. That time there is a depression, and for that depression this nitric acid is a useful remedy. Anxiety about this disease with fear of death, morbid fear of cholera. Now cholera was a disease which was, a panic disease. It would lead to death. So any acute disease which has got a potential to cause death, which could be swine flu also for that matter. So depressed and very anxious in evening. In mind, it has been analyzed that bad-tempered people and especially first hour after waking. So most of the symptoms are worse first hour after waking, because a man is known by what he does soon after waking. So that is very important in case taking also. That what is the first thing you do in the morning? Whether you remember God, you see TV, or you read newspaper, or say you quarrel with your wife, or wife quarrels with the husband, or whatever it is. The first thing in the morning is very important, and that is always we forget at the time of case taking. So here these are the people who are bad tempered on waking, then broken by long suffering, because that very symptom has been analyzed, dwells on past occurrences, then resentment, bitter feelings, unmoved by apologies. That is a word which has been, the syntax which has been emphasized by many Materia medicals. That if you are unmoved by apology, I say that there are two types of persons. No? One is educative person, and second is, what you call, huh? No, no, no. Second is, court people. So if you are a court person, then suppose I apologize. I commit a murder and then apologize. What is the use of apology? He will be punished. So that is court people. Apology does not affect them. Then there is second is educative people. Then if a teacher does a mistake, a student does a mistake, he says, all right, you write 10 times, I will not commit this mistake, so I will acquit you. So that is temperament of the people. Here this is a court person, unmoved by apologies. I do not want to hurt the sentiments of those who are attached to court people. So dwells on past disagreeable occurrences, then resentment, the same thing I have already said, unmoved by apologies, revengeful, accuses other people, fear of death, anxiety of health, worse state, own complaints always worse than those of other people, want help immediately. So these different types of anxiety of health, etc., have been emphasized here in analysis. Basic dissatisfaction, then discontented with himself, anger about his mistakes, then never cheerful, restlessness arising from dissatisfaction, restlessness unbearable from surroundings. So that is so sensitive, oversensitive to all external impressions, very selfish person, difficult contact with other people, that is introvert, then violent, anger and cursing, quarrelsome and abuse. So rich symptoms of mind are their nitric acid. When we were thinking about miasms in a traditional manner, then we said that nitric acid is a medicine, mixed miasmatic remedy. It has symptoms of sora, it has symptoms of syphilis, it has symptoms of psychosis. Now generally it is very chilly patient, nitric acid works by milk, night, open air, better by riding in a wagon or in cars, that is movement. Jerking movements give comfort and give relief. Desire for fat and salt is very interesting here, that these are the persons who will not only eat fat, will be able to digest fat also. And fat, naturally fatty food or spicy food has lot of salt. Excoriating discharges, then these cracks and fissures and ulcers, warts, then offensiveness, bad smelling discharges, pains come suddenly and they go suddenly, and then there are splinter-like pains, worse by touch. Splinter-like pains, like a piece of glass, pointed end of glass, splinter. Particulars, itching of vagina after coition, offensive, excoriating foot sweat, then prolonged pain after stool. This is because of anal fissures could be. That is why this sign of exclamation has been given. That is why nitric acid is an important remedy for anal fissures, severe acne, then tendency to boils, etc. So that takes us to the last remedy for the day, and that is phosphorus. Phosphorus these big cavities of heart, this lungs and heart is basically the thorax and head. Then circulation, blood vessels is affected. Then mucous membranes of stomach are affected. Lot of acidity because of that. Nerves are affected. Bones are affected. Worse on left side. Then this very interesting thing that left lower side and right upper side. It's a diagonal. We used to call it diagonal remedies. If it is left lower and right upper, or vice versa, right lower and left upper. What is this? This is diagonal. So these diagonal symptoms are there. Then lying on left or painful side, then slight cause, different things, whether it's emotion, talking or touch or odor, slightest, that is slightest cause aggravates means oversensitive people. So that's another way of putting up oversensitiveness. Worse by cold of hands, if hands are put in water, then open air. Warm food also this patient is worse because it likes only cold, and in vomiting it is said that it is better by taking cold, icy cold. As soon as it becomes warm, it is vomited out. So that shows the desire for cold. Then these thunder etc. is quite important. Morning, evening aggravation, mental fatigue. So this is aggravating modality. Better is eating, sleep, cold, rubbing. Mesmerism, another name is rubbing, no? So mesmerism and rubbing then are synonymous for us. Lying on right side and better in the dark. Hearings repeatedly verified symptom, very big symptom is written here. We'll read it. Anxious, filled with gloomy forebodings as if about to die, about termination of her illness. This sign of depression, see, and restless at twilight, that is evening, when alone, about the future, during a thunderstorm, with palpitations as if below her left breast. These are the symptoms of anxiety. So painful that her whole body trembled at times with bitter irritations and palpitations. So that is in anxiety, different organ symptoms are there, and restless with much sweat on forehead and heat of head and oppression. So you find a good candidate for anxiety in phosphorus. And second is apathy, indifferent to his own children, answers no questions like CPR or replies wrongly, took no notice of things about him, but his responses were always correct, answers slowly, moves sluggishly. Then great indisposition to mental or physical exertion, lethargy. Then weary of life, full of gloomy foreboding. So these are the symptoms of depression. So here we have a candidate for depression as well as anxiety. Then mind has been analyzed here, that quickly prostrated by unpleasant impressions, is Bojar has said, easily distracted, quick perception, suggestible. Then extrovert, wants to mix with everyone, affectionate and sympathetic, full of fears and anxieties, different things. No? Then too open and easily impressionable. All external impressions he is sensitive to, maybe even clairvoyant. So that is a hallucination in fact. Acuteness of senses during headache, especially smell. Slightest smell aggravates the headache. Aggravation by lying on left side, lying on back, better by rubbing, sleep and short sleep. Burning pains. Then cold air ameliorates the head and face symptoms but aggravates those of the chest, the throat and neck. So this again is a differential modality. Cold water, then great thirst especially for cold water. Fine. And then generally it is continued bleedings, hemorrhages, ravenous hunger, the sensation of heat when eating warm food, wants cold food. If warm food is eaten, he will say, I develop a heat. Then strong craving for cold drinks, ice cream and spicy food, tendency to hypoglycemia. Now this is what is pathological interpretation. So skipping a meal causes headache, weakness and trembling. Too rapid growth in children, usually chilly, then weak, empty, all gone sensation, be it in head, be it in stomach or chest or abdomen. So this can be correlated with hypoglycemia. Finally, burning between scapulae. Then cough aggravates by change of temperature, descending nasal catarrh, slightest cold settles down to chest from the nose. So that is what was described as a descending catarrh. This is a layman's term. Then goiter and palpitation. So that is what this phosphorus is a key remedy if symptoms are repertorized for hypothyroidism. Heat of hands, vertigo and hot head or rush of blood to head. So that completes our 5 remedies, and if you have any questions then we would like to answer them.